Hi everybody, it's Jen, and I'm going to give you a brief tour of an Access database. So if you would like to follow along, this can help because you'll get the feel of moving around and using a database. You can download this sample from our website, and here's my sample right here, and I'm going to double click to open it up. And if you've just downloaded your copy, you will probably have a yellow bar that asks you to enable editing. You can do that as well. And I'm going to minimize this for a moment because I want to show you something a little bit different about Access when you open it. In your folder window, in your file folder window, you're going to see it looks like you have two copies of the file with a cute little lock on this one. This is actually the same file. So you this is to show you that you shouldn't try to move this or upload it or download it because it's locked and open. So if you are ready to save it and upload it, you should always close your Access database. You should always save and close. So right now it looks like I have two, but it's only one. It's just that the file is locked. So I'm going to go back over to here, and I'm going to give you a brief tour of what it looks like here. So some of this is going to look familiar. For example, you can see that you have a ribbon across the top. You've got tabs to go in between the different ribbons. You've got Home, Create, External Data, Database Tools, Help, and File, where you can do Save As and Open and things that you may be familiar with. I'm going to head back to Home here. Over on the side, you have a navigation pane. Now, this is similar to your file window. So you'll see here all the objects that are available. So that means different parts of your database. So for example here, you can see tables, you can see queries, you can see forms, and you can see reports. Just like your file window, you can sort and filter these different items. So you can see that these are sorted by object type. You could look at just specific tables or forms, etc. We're going to go ahead and leave it the way it is. But just so you know, sometimes there may be items that are hidden and you may need to sort and filter them back again. So right now, we'll go ahead and we will look at a table. I'm going to go ahead and open up this first table here, and the way that you open up tables is you double click on them. And you can have many objects open at once, and you're going to see if you double click on the second table and a third and a fourth, you'll see that you'll have tabs across the top here. So this is kind of like having a web browser with different tabs open, or if you're used to working with Excel, it's kind of like having the different sheet tabs at the bottom that you can toggle through. So you can go and have many of these open. If you want to close a table, you can use the X over here. So the X is used for closing that specific table that you have open now. So if I have work sectors open and I go ahead and click X, it's going to close it. It's still here. Same with absence reports, employees. So if I do the X with health plans, if I go to absence reports, I can go ahead and click to close that. So you can see here that this looks much like an Excel spreadsheet or a table perhaps in Word or any other document format where you have your headings here for what are called your fields. So each field is a column. So that's a type of information. So for example here, employee ID is one field, and you can select a full field by clicking on the field name and getting that cute little black X pointing down there. You can select multiple fields by clicking and dragging like this. You can deselect by clicking out of it. So you can see I have an employee ID field, I have a last name field, I have a city field, I have a zip code field. So fields are the categories of information. And it's very important that when you create a database, that your fields are the smallest pieces of information that you can think of in this. So for example, it wouldn't be a great idea to have a field that was just name that had both first name and last name, because this might make it more challenging later to sort by last name or differentiate between people who had different first names, etc. So you always want to make your fields of information the smallest amount of information that they could be. So again, to review, this is a table, this is a field, which is a category, and each row going across, which I can select by hovering over this gray area and finding that, again, that cute little black arrow, each row is called a record. So record is a row of information about one item. So this could be about one client, one product, one student, one absence, one work sector, whatever it is. And the rows are the records, the fields are the columns. And all of this is called a table. You can see that in these different tables, we have different types of information stored and different types of fields. But what you will notice about each table is that each one has this ID number in front of it. And this is because each record needs what's called a primary key. A primary key identifies that record with a unique number or some sort of unique piece of information. Now, the reason why we often use ID numbers is because this information has to be unique, it often wouldn't work to be somebody's last name or the city that they live in, because there's many people who live in that same city, or somebody may have the same last name. So this is why when you're part of an organization, often you have an employee ID number or a student ID number, so that when you need to be looked up within the system's database, you have a unique identifier. So in Access, that's called the primary key. So you'll see here, for example, the primary key is employee ID. And here it's absence report ID. Here it's insurance plan ID. And under work sectors, it's just called ID.